The fact that humanity has been burning fossil fuels and consuming more resources than ever before is pretty obvious at this point. Many people, including myself, have advocated that shifting to renewable energy is the best solution for reducing emissions. But by the end of this video, you're going to understand the numerous other strategies we can use to fight climate change.
Some alternative solutions that are on the board right now in the world are things like carbon capture, using machines to physically capture the CO2 in the atmosphere and bring it back down to Earth to do more useful things like create more fuel with it. Along with that are things like giant mirrors to reflect sunlight back into space and prevent it from warming the Earth. And even more risky than that is something called geoengineering, where you would actually manipulate the atmosphere to either filter out sunlight or artificially cool the world from the top down. These other strategies could be extremely useful, but the downside is they're a lot more expensive to do on a global scale. Which brings me back to planting trees. They would make the world much more beautiful, and they could definitely help sequester some carbon from the atmosphere, but at the rate that we're consuming, we likely won't be able to stop it with planting trees alone. For as long as we continue to emit more carbon than we absorb, we will potentially see a continued cycle of heating on our Earth, which is why planting trees could be so important, because they have the chance of prolonging that cycle of overheating. And they would likely give us a chance to actually figure this out as a global civilization, because this is not one country or one person's fault. This is everyone's collective responsibility, and only by combining our forces and our intellects on this issue will we ever really see a solution. If our window of opportunity expands, which according to the IPCC, an intergovernmental panel which studies climate change, they mention we only have about 8 years left before the world continues to heat in cycles that we can't control anymore. If we can expand that window, we have a chance of entering into a renewable energy economy, which would make things cheaper. And we also could eliminate carbon going into the air through the ways that we've always done it. Is offsetting carbon even the solution? I would argue no. It's a temporary solution, but at the end of the day, we need to stop producing carbon, which sounds pretty strange coming from a carbon-based life form, but I digress. Whether changing the way you consume, travel, keep your home's temperature comfortable, or even surf the internet, there are numerous ways to live your life consciously and with the future in mind. So in closing, a shift in the way we generate energy and manage our land should be the priority when thinking about fighting climate change. But by planting more trees, we will have earned ourselves much more time in order to transition into a more efficient civilization.
So before closing out, I just want to remind you that this channel is still very small, but it wants to do big things in the future. Best way you can help out is by smashing the like button and subscribing for more content about sustainability and the future of civilization. If not, that's okay too. But remember, keep orbiting.